Latin Brocards, 6th video. Re Melius Perpensa. Re Melius Perpensa. The Latin brocard Re Melius Perpensa literally means having reconsidered the matter better or rethinking the matter better. It emphasizes the importance of careful thought, reflection, and re-evaluation in order to reach a more informed or judicious decision. In a legal context, re melius perpensa can be invoked when a judge, arbitrator, or lawyer reassesses evidence or arguments to ensure a fair and accurate ruling. Politically, it applies to policymakers or leaders who revise decisions after weighing additional information, public opinion, or long-term consequences. Academically or philosophically, the maxim underscores critical thinking, self-reflection, and the reconsideration of theories or hypotheses to achieve a deeper understanding. In everyday use, it serves as a reminder to pause, reflect, and make wiser choices rather than acting impulsively. Overall, Re Melius Perpensa conveys prudence, careful deliberation, and the value of thoughtful reassessment across context. Example sentences. The judge, Re Melius Perpensa, revised his earlier ruling after new evidence was presented that changed the understanding of the case. The historian Re Melius Perpensa reinterpreted the archival documents, offering a more nuanced account of the period. The mayor, Re Melius Perpensa, decided to adjust the urban development plan after consulting with both experts and local residents. After Re Melius Perpensa, she postponed her resignation, realizing that some issues could still be resolved through dialogue. Erga omnes. Erga omnes. The Latin brocard erga omnes literally means toward everyone or toward all. It is used to describe rights, duties, or obligations that are universally applicable and enforceable against anyone, rather than being limited to specific individuals or parties. In a legal context, erga omnes often refers to norms or rights that bind all members of a legal system, such as human rights or public law duties. Politically, it can describe policies or declarations intended to apply universally, reflecting the collective interest of a society or international community. Academically or philosophically, the maxim illustrate principles that are considered generally valid or universally binding, such as ethical duties or moral imperatives. In everyday use, erga omnes conveys actions, obligation, or considerations that must be respected toward everyone, highlighting fairness, inclusivity, and universal applicability. Example sentences. Human rights, recognized as erga omnes, must be respected by all states, regardless of bilateral agreements or treaties. The professor argued that certain ethical principles are erga omnes, applying universally across cultures and societies. The government proclaimed an erga omnes commitment to environmental protection, binding all citizens and institutions. Respecting others should be practiced erga omnes, not just with friends, but with everyone. Legibus solutus. Legibus solutus. The Latin Brocard legibus solutus literally means release from the law or not bound by the law. Historically, it was applied to the Roman emperor or sovereign, indicating that the ruler was considered above the law and not subject to its constraints, although this principle was often debated and reinterpreted over time. In the contemporary geopolitical context, legibus solutus is used to describe situations where leaders or authorities appear to act without regard for legal or normative frameworks, reflecting the erosion or selective application of international and domestic law. Academically or philosophically, the maxim illustrates the tension between absolute power and legal accountability, raising questions about authority, justice, and the rule of law. In everyday use, legibus solutus can describe anyone who acts as if rules or obligations do not apply to them, highlighting issues of impunity or exceptionalism. Example sentences. Political theorists debate whether modern heads of state operate legibus solutus in an era of weakening global norms. Critics argued that the dictator acted legibus solutus, disregarding constitutional limits and international agreements. Historically, the emperor was considered legibus solutus, exercising authority without being constrained by existing laws. He appeared to be a person legibus solutus, ignoring community rules and acting without consequence. Notoria non egent probationem. Notoria non egent probationem. The Latin Brocard notoria non egent probationem literally means notorious matters do not require proof. It expresses the principle that facts widely known or generally accepted do not need to be demonstrated with evidence, as their truth is considered self-evident. In legal context, notoria non egent probationem is applied when courts recognize certain established facts, customs, or publicly known events without requiring formal proof. Politically, the maxim can refer to widely acknowledged realities, public knowledge, or truths that policymakers take as given in decision-making. Academically or philosophically, it underscores the acceptance of commonly recognized principles or historical facts without the need for additional verification. In everyday use, it conveys that some information is so evident or widely acknowledged that it does not need to be proven. Overall, the maxim emphasizes practical efficiency, trust in common knowledge, and recognition of well-established truths across context. Example sentences. The judge stated that the historical fact discussed in court was well known by everyone and thus notoria non egent probationem. The diplomat acknowledged the economic crisis, noting that notoria non egent probationem regarding the country's financial instability. The fall of the Roman Empire is widely recognized by scholars and therefore notoria non egent probationem. Why do you want me to elucidate my statement? What I quoted is based on well-known and acknowledged facts, and therefore notoria non egent probationem. Una tantum. Una tantum. The Latin brocard una tantum literally means only once. It is used to indicate that a particular action, payment, or obligation is required just a single time and not repeatedly. In legal and commercial context, una tantum commonly refers to one-time payments, fees, or procedural acts that are not recurring. Politically, it can describe measures or decisions intended to occur only once, such as a single allocation of resources or a one-off policy action. Academically or philosophically, the maxim emphasizes the singularity or uniqueness of an event or requirement. In everyday use, una tantum highlights situations where a task, favor, or event happens only one time, stressing its non-repetitive nature. Example sentences. The government granted a bonus una tantum to citizens affected by the emergency as a one-time relief measure. The contract required a payment of the registration fee una tantum, with no further charges expected. The professor allowed the submission of the assignment una tantum, with no opportunities for resubmission. She received the gift una tantum, knowing it was a special one-time gesture.